Hey there, friends. Grab a cup of tea. Let's talk a little bit about our survival strategy. I feel this message is coming in really strongly from my own life, and I always know what that means is that it's an opportunity to share. Because I feel that part of my role here is to channel some of the things that are coming through for all of us to share together. So, I want to talk a little bit astrologically about what's going on and relate that back to how you might be feeling this. So, I'm going to give you some astrological placements. If you're not into astrology, you certainly don't have to know this. This certainly isn't anything that only astrology lovers or believers have to do. It's just that if you are into it, it might give you some hints and cues more into the specifics around where this might be happening for you. But we are in the time of Aquarius, and you can watch my other video on this season to kind of get more of the nuts and bolts, but just really to really drill it down, we're really in a time of innovation, of looking at the same problems that maybe we've been facing in our own lives and collectively through a new lens, through new insights. This is a time of ahas and epiphanies, and it can be a time of disruption when we're sometimes just like things that have been working don't work, and the illusion is that it just all of a sudden stopped working, but truly these things build over time. And if we're really honest with ourselves and we detach from the emotions that might be stirred up when we have disruptions in our life or sudden changes or realizations, because there's certainly our emotional response to that, but aside from that, there's a part of us that's like, yeah, I kind of knew that wasn't working, or yeah, it was going to be so convenient if that were to work. And so I've kind of called this like, this is kind of a time of reckoning of those inconvenient truths. So Uranus is in Taurus, and this is the one of the rulers of co-rulers of Aquarius. And Uranus in Taurus is in retrograde, which means that this is a time of reflection. This is a time in which, again, the motivation of this planet in your life, which is like where you need to embody your individualism, the part of you that needs to do whatever it is that you need to do your own way. You've got to separate from the herd. And this can be in any area of your life that this is functioning. But Uranus in Taurus is especially interested in our survival and being able to do this in more sustainable ways, like learning how to maybe like make money in ways that are more sustainable than maybe how we've been making money. Like, have you felt like it's been a grind for you, like to make the money and have the things you want? Like, you have to sacrifice maybe your personal life, or maybe you have to work more than you want, or maybe your boundaries around work. Maybe for you, it's been a survival strategy around relationships, and maybe you've tolerated relationships that really weren't feeling good for you. They didn't actually give you joy and pleasure, but yet, like, you depended on maybe your spouse or your partner for something, or maybe you needed that to not feel alone or to feel safe. Um, Maybe it was some other type of practice or something else in your life, a fixture that's changing. But anywhere that this is fine, it's bringing us back to like those nuts and bolts of our values. So this is a really interesting time to really be aware of what we truly, truly value, and if our life is in resonance with what we value. So going back to like the work example, if, yeah, you might really value money, but are you valuing money at the expense of another value, which might be your family time, or it might be your personal time, or it might be your personal creativity, or your feeling of expressing yourself more genuinely? So this is truly a time to, one, get in touch with our values, and then two, take a look at, is our life in harmony and balance with those values? Like, how are we allowing those values to be part of our survival strategy? Um, so what I'm finding is kind of the ingenuity around this is looking at that, like, we all have certain values and talents and things that we're good at. And those things should be working in service to us. So like if you have the gift of being, maybe you're really handy with your hands and you're really able to fix things, and you kind of have a lot of common sense with that. This might be a time to say, is that serving your survival? Like, are you able to do this in ways that enhances your survival because it's easy for you? Like, you don't have to work really hard. Part of the Aquarian archetype is the genius. This is where we're just really good at something. And sometimes we're so good at this thing that we don't even know that we're so good at it because it's easy for us. it's easy for us to think this way because it's just how we think, or it's easy for us to know how to do something because that's just how it works for us. So this is really a time to look at our values and then also look at what we're really good at. Like, what is our zone of genius and where we're just like effortlessly able to do something. And actually we enjoy it as we do it. So it's not that we're just good at something, because that can be kind of an edge of Saturn where like we've learned to be good at something because like we went to school for it, or we thought our parents told us it's our in our lineage, or it's just what we've been doing, but yet we don't enjoy it. The edge is that you actually enjoy it. It's easy for you, and it's actually enjoyable and pleasurable. So it's identifying what are those things, and are they in service to you in your survival mechanism, like how you make money, how you feed yourself, how you adapt in your daily life. All of these things are really important, because if we really think about what Taurus is like the bare necessities. It's like, what do I need to live a harmonious, simple life without making it overly complicated? Like, where do I find peace and pleasure? What are the simple things in life that I just really like? If I have these things, I'm like, I'm good. And they can be different for all of us. You can look at your Venus placement, what sign Venus is in, what house it's in, to get a little bit more information about what you value. You can also look at what's in your second house for where you're learning what this is, or how you're using your skills, kind of how you are in relationship to yourself, how you work with your desires and your magnetism. This is all second house things. And since right now Uranus is in Taurus, this is a time again of getting simple. So this is where we're going to see changes in money and how money is working in our society, because these are the collective and transpersonal planets. So we're going to see things that, like, our money system is going to change. How people are adhering to making money is going to change. But it's also things like our values, and it's also things like collective values, and realizing that, a good example of this is the newer generations are just really intolerable of doing things they don't want to do, or if it's too hard or uncomfortable. And then we think back to some of us who are older, and we're like, but that isn't important. Like, you just do what you got to do, and you make the bills, and who cares if it's fun or enjoyable? It's just part of paying the price of being young and at work, if that's your value. But the newer generations are like, F that. We're not doing that. It doesn't feel good. So there's going to be a change in values. There's going to be a change in, again, collectively, our survival strategy. It's going to be a call to what's more natural. It can even be a call to nature, a call back to silence and things that are more harmonizing in our environment. It could be quieting our environment. It might be a change in your environment, like realizing, I just can't live in the city anymore. I can't live on this busy street anymore. I can't live with these roommates anymore. Again, it brings us back to those very, very like five senses types of things. Like, does it smell? How does it smell? How does it feel? How does it look? How does it sound? And really allowing our bodies to be able to help us navigate pleasure and what is good for us. So where we're seeing that kind of the chism in, like, we do things through our mind, but yet the body doesn't really resonate with it. So like we're overextending ourselves. Because our body will tell us that at some point you get sick, or your immune system suffers, or you just get burnt out. These are ways in which we're not in resonance with our body. So our mind and our energy is outpacing our body. And so this is going to be a time of listening to the body. And I have a funny thing I've been playing with, because I've been doing some meditations with my pelvis and trying to get more in touch with the more embodied wisdom, not my head and creativity. And so my question would be like, what does the pelvis say? And lately I've been like, well, the pelvis says no. Sometimes my mind says yes. And so it's, again, going back to that and listening to that more natural wisdom, being more in touch with nature, the season we're in, and looking at, although like our first world kind of methodology is like, it's always go season. It's January, we got to start, we got to push ourselves. I was just speaking to someone the other day about this, and they said, I feel like it's January, I got to have some things in the books and going. And yes, collectively we tell ourselves that, but energetically, like, we're in winter. This is not the time to start new things. This is a time of reflection, of slowness, of looking at our resources and spending them wisely. And that's our time and our attention, our money. It's also a time of really kind of visioning and asking ourselves deeper questions. So That's where we like are out of sync with nature. You know, we told ourselves this is what January means, but look out in nature. Is anything blooming? Not really. That's the time we're in. I want to talk about the other ruler of Uranus, or of Aquarius, and that is Saturn. And Saturn is all where we do all the adulting. We have to do the things we don't want to do, is like brushing our teeth, going to the dentist, you know, getting our annual checkup, taking care of our laundry. It's all the things that we develop kind of a way of being responsible. We learn kind of like the rules of engagement. Like, okay, yeah, like if I overextend and spend my money, I don't have money in the bank, and the bank comes and takes my card, comes in and comes takes other things in my life. This is where we kind of learn the third dimensional rules of engagement. So Saturn is where we develop kind of a maturity. It's where we're learning in life. It's where like sometimes we experience difficulty and challenge so that we learn how to stick with things. Saturn right now is in Pisces. There's a whole stellium of planets in Pisces. And this is a time of really, I'm calling it like being journeyed. It's being journeyed by faith. It's trusting the unseen. It's connecting to our intuition. It's navigating through things that are outside of the cerebral kind of analytical mind. And so when Saturn's in Pisces, it's a little squishy. It's harder to define our goals. It's harder to like put our finger on like, what is the path? What is the right choice? Like, how do I make this decision? Because it's truly something that is very it's something that's felt and experienced differently. So this can also affect our survival strategy, because we want to be like, okay, if I do these three things, I'm going to have money. Maybe logically that makes sense, but Saturn might go, nope, nope. You might have to trust your intuition with things and have no guarantee that something's going to happen, but yet the feeling's right. You just feel that the signs are showing you that. When you really think into what you want and feel into that, you feel like you're moving in the right direction, even though there may be no evidence yet in the material world that say that you're moving, other than your felt sense, this inner guidance, like you're being again, like you're being journeyed. And so that right now, as well as we have the North Node in Pisces right now conjunct with Neptune. And so this is a time of like letting go of the old stuff, the old stories, the old ways, dealing with all that comes up, feeling all these emotions, and trusting, having faith, and not letting it be so hard. This isn't a time to push ourselves or expect too much of ourselves. Like the South Node's in Virgo, that's where we go towards that perfectionism. That's where we work ourselves. It's where we're constantly trying to improve. Pisces is where we find acceptance, is where we have faith. It's where we trust unseen. It's where we surrender into the mystery. And so all of this can be highly disorienting, feeling like we're walking through a haze, feeling like where is the sign that says how many more miles I have to go? Where's the direction, the compass? It's because the compass is inside you, the compass is around you and in your environment. And it might come from unexpected sources. And so that always affects our survival. So if you want to look at, again, where the North Node is transiting, look at your house of Pisces. Right now it's in the upper degrees, so it might be between two houses. That's where you're being asked to be journeyed. It's where we're being asked to really tap into what we truly want, our potential. Go back to that genius, right? It's the thing that you are so good at that maybe you just don't have belief in because you haven't seen it. You don't have the evidence, but you know that you really want it because you feel it inside you. You can also look at where you have kind of the middle degrees of Pisces, and that's where Saturn is. Again, it's calling you to kind of develop a different sense of navigation and orientation, which is more in touch with, again, who you are at a more creative being. It's when we're embodying ourselves as creators. I have a post on this, so check that out too, embodying our role as creators. That gives you a little bit more feel about the North Nodes and what's happening there. So hopefully all this is maybe igniting in you some deeper questions to ask yourself, some exploration. I feel like I like to play with this, like make it kind of fun. Like, what am I good at? How can I use these skills and talents that I like doing in new ways that I've never expressed it before? How might there be a way that this can be a competitive edge for my survival? I'm just going to give you a personal example. Um, I I have been doing a different type of consulting for most of my life, and now I'm kind of looking at revisiting how I'm offering the things in my life, because I'm wanting to do less with the traditional ways and more with presence and deep conversations and more soulful, more spiritual work. And that kind of takes me out of a different field in which I've been in a business world where you can't really talk about those things so openly. Or if you do, you're not really maybe as marketable to some people. And so what I'm looking at is, well, what am I good at? Well, okay, so maybe I'm good at teaching. Maybe I'm good at nurturing people. Maybe I'm good at creating really peaceful environments. Maybe I'm really good at finding things that derive pleasure for people. How can I do that in a new way? I was doing that in another way, but how do I bring that into a new way? So it's a way of playing with our talent. So maybe recommendations for how to work with this, and let me know what comes to you, is to write down your values. Like, what are the values that you really know are like near and dear? And I really, I try to not put money as a value, because like really, like if I had a room full of money, like I wouldn't be happy. What I really might want is freedom with that money. Or what I might want is certain things that I want to have with that money, that I might ask myself, what does that thing give me? Is it pleasure? Is it comfort? Is it stability? And you're getting closer then to the thing, because no one really wants money. Like, money's a piece of paper. So go deeper with what you really want. And you can look at your sign of Venus if you're not sure, and look at the house placement or any how planets in your second house for really what you value. And then within that, what are the things that I'm really good at? Um, Kind of play around with that. It's not so much in a role specific, but more as like, it's the action of nurturing, for example. It's the action of sharing. It's the action of connection. Like, I love nature. So I know that that's a value that I have. I love quiet time. I love just presence with people, which we don't have to fill it with words or things. So like writing those values, writing the things you're good at, and then looking at where maybe you have tension in your life, or where there's disruption, or where you're feeling like your survival strategy is not working. And then looking at these talents and skills and asking yourself, like, how could these serve me here? And again, this can apply in any area of your life, because you might have this in your relationship house. You might have this in your work house. You might have this in your house of like philosophies and more of your visioning and how you're kind of framing your life. It might be in your house of friends and community that's changing. And if you have questions about this, comment, ask me, reach out, let's chat about it, share what's coming to you. And I always want to say this in my videos, I'm sharing what's coming through me and what's being revealed. And there's no way that you'll miss this if this is something that you're interested in. So if truly what you're asking yourself right now is, I want a new survival strategy. It feels like the way I've been running my life doesn't work, or this area that's blowing up in my life, I don't really know a new way. If you're open to receiving what it is that you want, which is usually the truth or greater freedom or greater resonance, trust that it's there for you. It might come in the most crazy sources, but it's there for you. So trust it and be open to like the synchronicities of it coming through a song, or overhearing a conversation in a coffee shop, or a post like this, or getting an astrology reading, or whatever it is. It's always there for us, because everything that's happening is always in service to us. We're creators, we're calling it in. And sometimes we are really great at creating things and we don't realize that, like, maybe that isn't how we thought it would show up, but trusting that it always shows up in the best way possible. And that's my prayer every day, is to ask that I align with my highest good, with my highest self, and that this comes in the form that is best and most resonant for me, even if that surprises me and knocks me out of my rhythm and causes me to feel, uncomfortable. And this is a time that we'll feel uncomfortable. Let's just be honest. Disruption, changes in our survival strategy, that hits us deep in our nervous system. So do all the good stuff to support yourself. That's time in nature, deep breathing, taking time out from technology, giving yourself some quiet, some space. All of these things, so important. Because again, this is a call back to being embodied. The simple pleasures of, we deserve to have pleasure in our life. We deserve to live in accordance to our values. And we do, we're plentiful. There's so much abundance for us. when we really align with our values. And my life has been totally a testament to that this last year. Did it go the way I thought it would go? Absolutely not. But is there so much abundance in my life because I've started to prioritize the things that are so important to me? 100%. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Comment, share, let me know how it's showing up for you. And let's be in this together because we are. We're sharing the same sky. Blessings, friends.